Michael Cummings here with BlazePod. Welcome to our Logic series. Creating a custom BlazePod activity is easy. The first step is choosing the foundation, or as we call it, the light logic. This is the program type that you will choose to best meet your needs. In this series, you'll learn all about each light logic and the reason why you would choose each one. Today, we're going to dive into the light logic most used for assessment, sequence. So how does the sequence logic work? In this logic, you were able to predefine a route or course by choosing the pod placement, order, and color scheme, creating a predictable sequence of visual cues, which is why this is a great logic for assessment. You can also create multiple sequences. Now let's hit choose and get started. You can add several stations, and each station will have the same activity running in parallel. So if you have 6 pods and the activity uses only 2 pods, you can effectively run 3 stations of that same activity, each running at the same time. The number of pods is the amount of pods you'll be using for the activity per each station. Therefore, if you are running 3 stations with 2 pods each, you won't select 6 pods. You'll only select 2. It's the number of pods per each station. Next up, choose the player that will be doing the activity by tapping on the name. Make sure to add each new player to your list so you can save all the results individually to analyze improvement. You can also choose teams if you have more than one player performing a single player activity, like this physical education activity. Now swipe or tap next and move on to the pod lights rules screen. Choose the number of steps in the sequence. For example, in the t-test, you have 4 pods being used in the activity per station and 5 steps. Choose the correct pod to light up in the order you want for each step. Choosing different colors for each step may help you stay organized during setup, to define a color per pod number, or use the different colors to denote separate actions for more cognitive engagement. Once you've chosen all the pods and colors, the indication lights will flash in the correct sequence to help you with setup. If you select multiple stations, station 1 will light up first with the correct indication lights, followed by station 2 and so on, with a brief pause before returning back to station 1. Now let's move on to lights out. Lights out is basically choosing the way in which the pod's light is turned off. Is it with a physical tap or with a timer? With a timer, the pod will not respond to a hit. The light will only go out after the time that is pre-set. This is great if you want to use the pods as visual cues and are not worried about the data captured by each hit. You can also choose a combination of whatever happens first. If the pod is tapped out before the time runs out, it registers a hit. Otherwise, it registers a miss-hit. I like to use this function when trying to get someone to increase their intensity and move faster. This creates a sense of urgency and pressure to respond within a certain time frame. It's a great way to intensify an activity. And now to the final setting on this screen, the light delay time. The time between a pod's light going out and when the next pod lights up. In many cases, you'll want the next pod to light up immediately, in which case you'll choose the none option. You can add a fixed delay time if you want the participant to have time to return to an ideal starting position. The random light delay option is great because you can simply choose a range from 0 seconds to 10 seconds or anything in between, and the app will randomly choose a time between the minimum and maximum times that you set. This option is also great for helping players wait and think before they go and make the right decision as quickly as possible, or if you want to work on a player's anticipation or response time. This option gives you a true reaction time. Now let's swipe or tap next to finalize the activity. You have 3 options to choose how or when this activity ends. Do you want the activity to end after a certain time? Or maybe you want the activity to end after the player has tapped out the sequence once? You can also have your activity running for a number of sequences. Let's choose 5 reps. And finally, cycles. You can think of cycles like sets in weight training. Do you want the activity to run a number of times automatically with a rest period between the cycles? This option is great if you're running a drill for a number of sets before moving on to the next one. Once your activity is set, it's ready to use. You can start immediately. You can manually start the activity from the app or select Start on Hit. The Start on Hit option is great if you want to place the device down and get into position, or if you're training a group and want the drill to run self-sufficiently. If you have the Pro membership, you can save the activity and use it over and over again, or share it. Now go get creative and have fun designing your own activities. Enjoy.